NDTV has accessed video of a Haryana government official threatening to de-recognize those schools whose parents refused to reply to a bizarre 100-point questionnaire which asked, among other things, whether the parents worked in unclean professions. The Haryana government also wanted to know whether a child has a genetic defect, the caste of the child, the income of both the parents, Aadhaar details of both the parents, irrespective of whether they lived together, were separated or were divorced. Now, principals of leading Gurgaon schools have told NDTV that it's just not possible to comply with these directives.
पहले तो ये बताओ कि कितने स्कूल्स वाले उस डाटा के बारे में यूथ राइट्स के बारे में अवेयर हैं? सभी लोग हैं? सभी लोग हैं। और इस बारे में अवेयर है कि अगर आपने यूथ राइट्स का जो डाटा अपडेट नहीं किया तो आपकी रिकॉग्निशन खत्म हो सकती है।
आपका recognition खत्म हो सकता है. That was a Haryana government official threatening the principals or representatives of schools across Haryana who failed to comply with this bizarre 100-point directive, which till this morning asked whether parents were involved in so-called unclean professions. The state government has done us the favor of removing the word unclean administration, unclean profession I should say, but has asked, continues to ask very intrusive questions. Professor Yogendra Yadav, co-founder of Swaraj Abhiyan with us. Raghav Avasthi remains with us. Professor Yadav, now what the BJP is saying, what the state government is saying, in fact we'll play out what the minister said in a little while from now, is that look, this has come from the time of the Congress. The word unclean profession was used. They point to a Shastri Bhavan document and they said, look, no, we made a mistake, we carried over that particular word and we have removed that word now. Is that good enough an explanation?
Vishnu, there are 3 degrees of impropriety in the particular admission form. Number one, that asking children for such a long form, 100 bits of information, that's just silly. Second is asking certain questions which are intrusive. Questions about parents, Aadhaar, this, that, and everything else. And third is the problem of things which are simply inappropriate. About unclean occupations, about genetic disorders and so on. You don't do that. These are unconstitutional things. I am not sure if it started with...
Raghav, I'll let you reply in a moment. Let Yogendra ji make his point.
Please?
Yes, carry on.
Yeah. Now, it is quite clear that this is something that may not have started yesterday. The government claims that it started in 2011. It could well have. I don't trust Congress government in not doing those things. So I'm not sure if this is only this government. But referring to the scheduled caste, scheduled tribe ministry circular is not enough. Because remember, those are circulars which are directed only at students who come from disadvantaged communities, where the purpose of asking is exactly the opposite, which is to identify and help those students. But to bring it in a general purpose admission form actually serves to stigmatize those students. Okay. That is where the problem lies. I think it, apart from whatever this government may have done, it also draws our attention to the fact that so many of these prejudices, caste prejudices, unconstitutional practices lie embedded in these tiny little forms and this everyday practices, which is there throughout the country.
Okay, I want to...
like Haryana, it's much
worse. I just want to bring Raghav in.
Yogendra
ji, I want to bring Raghav in. Raghav, besides the point that he has mentioned, why should parents be expected to give their incomes or incomes of their spouses to the state government? Why does the government need to know that? And what about those parents who are divorced or separated? How does one partner, how does one parent know about the financial status of the other parent or of the Aadhaar details of the other parent? Shouldn't someone have thought about this?
There are 2 points that need to be made. There are 2 points that need to be made. First, I'll come to Mr. Yadav. Now, it's really unfortunate that Mr. Yadav is being all sanctimonious and a social justice warrior tonight, when a member of his own party, that is Mr. Prashant Bhushan, has spewed casteist invective against Lord Krishna himself, and he is still a member of his party. Now I'll come to the second most substantive point. The most substantive point is just this, that
what
this
is
form
being
is
talked
obviously
about?
a carryover from the tenure of the previous government, which is something that Mr. Yadav has also admitted. Which is something that Mr. Yadav has also admitted.
Does
so
that-
I
does
don't
that make it
really
right?
see the point of, just singling out the BJP government and hauling it over hot coals for something like this. Having said that, this sanctimonious preaching by some politicians who, I don't know which party he belongs to right now. He's been hopping a few parties lately.
No, but this is
And
not
who
about
was
him.
Apologists earlier.
This
and
is
now-
not about
and
him.
Since he was a
He is-
apologist earlier and a politician. Sorry?
he has been an educator who has a
Yeah,
view.
it is not about him. But I will also have, I'll
Talk
also have
about
to
the
question
issue.
his locus.
No, Raghav, why
I
don't you
will
talk
also
about
have
the
to
issue?
question his locus,
The
no?
issue is not Yogendra
Yeah,
ji.
so
He
the
is only
issue is that
commenting. Talk about the issue.
Yeah, so the issue is very simply, not at all. This is a carryover, and like all the deadwood that the Congress government in the state and the centre was associated with, I am sure this deadwood would also be gotten rid of. Having said that, this sanctimonious preaching to the BJP.
No, Raghav, this
must
is,
stop.
the sanctimonious point, pardon me for saying so, but you're stretching it a little bit. You can disagree with what Yogendra ji is saying, but why would any government, right? Of course, if the Congress had asked in the past, it's rubbish that they would have asked. But why is this now in 2018 come up where you say, give us if your child has
Exactly,
got a
it's rubbish.
genetic defect? Was somebody not thinking in this government? Maybe they never thought in the past. Does that mean we stop thinking forever?
No, I completely. Vishnu, you are a senior journalist. Your father, I think, was a senior diplomat also. You know how these things work. Sometimes, clearing up the deadwood takes time, and this is the reason why
Clearing up the
people have
deadwood
elected the BJP
takes
government
time.
at the
4
centre
years
and
it
the
takes.
BJP government in Haryana. I
Utter
completely agree with you.
non-application of
I
mind.
completely agree with you.
No, but Raghav, I'll tell you what. Okay, 1 second. Yogendra ji had a
this
point.
is
Go
not-
ahead.
This is the first time that this issue has been flagged in the media, and I am sure the Haryana government
They are
will
not.
take expeditious action.
The
And I
Haryana
completely
government
agree with all
has
the
dropped those
substantive
two
points
words.
that you made.
Raghav, the Haryana
Yes, I
government has
agree.
dropped those two words, but they have not dropped the rest. They still want to know if there is a genetic defect with the child. They want to know the caste status of the child. They want to know the religion of the child. They want to know the PAN card, the income tax details of both parents. Why? Why?
No, why should the income? What is wrong with having the PAN card and income tax details? I don't understand.
But why is it required?
Why can we not
Genetic
have the
defect.
PAN card and
Does your
income tax
child
details?
suffer from a genetic defect? Does your child
should-
suffer from some form of mental retardation? Why do you need to know how much parents are earning? I'm just curious to understand this. Why? I'm asking why.
I think, I will tell you why. It has probably not been worded in the most politically correct fashion. Having said that, if there are some learning disabilities that subsist with the child, then it is important for the school to know that the learning
But
disabilities
the
are
school
there.
knows
so
it. Why
that
does the
child can
government
be
need to
catered
know? Is the
accordingly.
government willing to help
I
these
don't
children in some
understand the
way?
hue and cry about this.
Okay, Yogendra ji, you had a point. Go ahead.
Exactly, I'm sure it's willing to help these
Raghav,
students. That's why it's asking.
I
let
think
Professor
the
Yogendra Yadav respond.
BJP
Professor Yadav, yes.
Yeah,
I think the
I'm
BJP
waiting.
spokesperson is more interested in your father and my friend rather than the point. Good to know about your father, incidentally, but I think the argument could have been made without that. Some elementary lessons in logic must be given to people. On the question of whether it started with Congress or not, and sir, I do not have to admit anything because I did not belong to any of those governments. I just look at it as an educator. The specific question should be,
That you were
is
part
this
of Rahul Gandhi's
admission
advisory
form
committee.
One sec,
something
Raghav.
that-
Raghav,
you were
let him
part of
answer.
Rahul Gandhi's advisory committee, I think in 2011.
Sir,
Raghav, Raghav,
I'm
let's be
waiting,
serious
but
about
can
Master
I
this issue.
now
Raghav,
that
let's
you're
be serious about this issue.
now
Let him
that
answer.
your interest in me-
I want to balance it out. This is the
I
last
think
comment.
my
Yogendra ji, make
friend
your
has
point. I need to wrap
difficulty
it
in
up. Yes.
trying to. I think my friend has some serious interest in me. I can offer him a cup of tea and he can discover more about my life so that he doesn't have to peddle these cheap lies on a television program. I think the real question is whether this particular admission form dates back to 2011. If it is, then Congress should equally be held responsible, but only and only if BJP can show that this admission form in its present format dates back to 2011. Why don't they make this information public?
Okay.
And in any case, it seems the BJP spokesperson hasn't heard of a word called stigma. That is so critical to the life of a child. And once stigmatized, it can taint their entire school experience,
Okay.
which is what people are complaining about.
I think
Why don't
I
they
think you
understand
raised
something as elementary as that?
Yogendraji, you raised some important points. Raghav, I'd like to thank you very much for joining us as well. I'm sorry I'm interrupting because we are out of time. But the fact of the matter is that parents still have to fill up this form. The government insists they must. They've changed the language of something most objectionable perhaps, but a lot of people would say that other parts of this document are still very, very intrusive. Out of time. Thanks for being with us. I'll be back on Monday, 10 p.m.